in today's video, folks, we're going to be going over some patch notes for Rainbow Six Siege, Siege-X, I guess we're going in now, but mainly just Rainbow Six Siege patch notes, some updates coming to the game. I'm not actually going to go over some balancing changes for heroes because I actually think a majority of balancing changes are not the biggest problem in the game right now. Balancing is not the biggest problem in the game right now. There's bugs, hackers, cheaters. The rank system's not the greatest. It hasn't been the greatest for a long time, for a couple of years now. I said ever since Rank 2.0 released that it was not the best system. I actually preferred Ranked 1.0, and Ranked 1.0 was by no means a good system either. So hopefully they address some of these concerns in the patch notes, but we're going to skip the balancing section and we're just going to go straight into, I'm going to look at the designer notes real quick, and they're still balancing it like this. And they're going for a high skill ceiling. Obviously Siege is a competitive game, that makes sense. So platinum and above, that's all they're balancing. But I've never liked the way they balance their characters, because a lot of the time they balance their characters on, first of all, this is better than what they used to do. So they used to look at literally just pure pick rate back in the day. And if you played Siege for any amount of time, back in the day, Cav was like one of the most picked heroes in the game. Also one of the most banned heroes in the game. Or I shouldn't say heroes, operators. Been playing a little too many hero shooters lately. Been infected, I guess you could say, in my mind. But in all honesty, I think, you know, being based on pick rate and win delta percentage is not always the best. I do like the idea of adding win delta percentage. But again, I'm not the biggest proponent of that, right? So I don't think it's the best way to do it all the time. I do like how they're doing it more so now, but I think they also need an algorithm to work how characters are banned and when they're banned, and on what maps. And they really need to get into the details of that, because I think it makes a lot of sense. So like Ace being a ban pick, way higher than Hibana, you obviously need to buff Hibana and nerf Ace a little. And I think Termite's in that perfect spot. You should almost always ban a Hard Breach. So I think, you know, I think Hard Breach will always be bannable. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you should nerf all Hard Breach characters. I think you should bring them to a similar level. And that, with that being said, I definitely think you should bring up Hibana's skill level. Like, I only really take into account PC because PC is by far and away the most competitive platform when it comes to Siege, and it's not even a question. But yeah, there's some more balancing changes here, more operator balancing. I'm not really gonna look at it too much, but that's my thoughts and opinion on that. I still don't think that's the best way to balance it. I wish they would in their operating table matrix, they should add, you know, they should have behind the system or on the back end of things, if this character is banned due to certain reasons, those reasons are necessarily bad, and we need to make them equal to the other characters within its role, so to say. So like nerf Ace a little. Obviously he's a little too strong right now. We've looked at the ban rates. Ace is a little too strong right now. The community feels that way. So you need to buff Hibana and the other Hard Breachers up to Thermite's level. Don't touch Thermite. Thermite's one, if not the most balanced characters in the game. So please don't touch Thermite. Just because you gets banned 30% of the time, I mean, teams should be banning Hard Breachers. But I also like that they're not just basing this on Pro League. They're basing it on Platinum and above. So I think that's a pro. I don't know how long they've been doing it that way. I just remember back in the day, they were just doing it basically on pure pick rate. And obviously, if you do that back in the day, Caveira was overly overpowered back in the day, if we're going to use that metric as the only metric for banning characters. So there has to be a reasonable reason as to why the characters are getting banned, not just, the characters are simply too strong, right? Or the character's fun. You know what I'm saying? So I like more what they're doing now, but it still needs a little bit of improvement. Going on to what we're actually talking about today, what we actually care about is the actual meaningful update to the Siege community, which we're going to get into now, starting with the anti-cheat. The anti-cheat needed an update for a long time. If this isn't a kernel level anti-cheat, we were going to have a problem. So make it kernel level. I don't care. Your Ubisoft, your Siege, Rainbow Six Siege, one of the most competitive games in the world and has been for a long time. So please have the one, if not the best, anti-cheat systems. I wish there was like a standardized couple of companies that operated kernel level anti-cheats, and so these companies would just go outsource this work to those other companies, and they can be more specialized in the area. But so we don't have to give kernel level access to Valorant, to Battlefield 6, to Siege, hopefully in the future. It's just all together in one package, and it's a lot more easier, or a lot easier, I should say. Or maybe, I don't know, there's got to be some level of competition. But let's look at this deeper. So then in the next steps, they say target high profile cheat makers and use single notorious cheat product through advancements in cheat detection. I don't know what this really means. This isn't really giving us any info. And again, they're trying to not give away the anti-cheat. But if you come out and say, hey, we're doing kernel level access, you're all fucked. We hope you all know that. They're not going to be able to do anything about it. That is just a simple fact. Like, cheaters aren't going to be able to do anything about it. They're not going to be able to adapt. And maybe in the future they do, and maybe I'm going to eat my words in the future. But I think they should give us a little bit more than this. This is just like that's what all anti-cheat should be striving to do. But tell me how this is going to innovate on that to some level. It's going to disrupt marketplace out exploits. And this is where I'm starting to question, is this really in the best service of the Siege, overall Siege community? Or is it just because they want to make more money and Ubisoft's going through the fucking drain run? The reason why I'm saying this is because they addressed this twice. They addressed this twice in their anti-cheat next steps section, which this isn't the bigger part of the problem that most people are worried about. Most people don't care about the marketplace. In all honesty, most people want a good gameplay experience. They don't want to run into cheaters in their game. That's what most people are worried about. That is what most people are worried about. And if you're making the argument that disrupting the marketplace, like if you address this twice out of the 3 address points, that there's obviously a problem there. There's obviously a problem there because a majority of the community, including me, cares more about getting rid of cheaters. Like, I think, down the line you can address this, but let's get rid of the cheaters first, because this is all about Ubisoft R6 credits, and it's all about them making more money. So actually come out, be like, hey, we care more about this. And a good way by starting off by doing that is talking more about how this is going to occur in the future than this. And obviously in your next steps, you have 2 out of the 3 points being made about the marketplace and not actually about the game in and of itself. Let's address that. Balancing. We've heard that updates can feel like all nerfs, no buffs. So we're changing up our approach when unexpected metas form and will prioritize the fun experience. We have high ambitions for our larger system changes for the game balancing, which will go into testing soon. And again, this should have been a thing long ago, folks. This should have been a thing long ago. I don't understand how it's taken them this long for them to understand this, but I mean, I guess better late than never. And I hope, and they talk about it here, for year 10 season 4, Thermite, Hibana, and Maverick are all getting buffs, so Ace will have a lot more competition. I was getting into this earlier. I don't think Thermite needs a buff. I think Hibana and Maverick need a buff, and then Ace needs a nerf. And it doesn't all have to be all fun or all competitive. You have to mix it. Your community has been a mix of the competitive scene and the casual player scene. Although you've lost a lot of the casual player scene. Like, this game has not had the casual player in mind since like 2017. Like, if we're being realistic here, and you're coming here 8 years too late, I think, you know, you just do a mix. You start off with a mix. You say, hey, we're gonna buff Hibana Maverick. We're keeping Thermite as the balancing, you know, anchor that he's been in the game for the longest time. Just keep him there. Keep him as the thing you compare everybody else to within the hard breaching role. I think that's fine. You know, up Maverick a little, up Hibana, and up and nerf Ace a little. But Maverick and Hibana and Thermite and Ace, they all have different roles, right? So they all have different roles in the team. Obviously, Ace, I think, has the widest reaching roles, but they all have different roles. So, you know, I don't know how much I am a fan of this, because again, they're going off pick rates. And so I'm just not the biggest fan of that. But you know, it's whatever. And so here we get into possibly the biggest part of the update for a lot of people, which is ranked. A lot of people play the ranked game mode, and I played the ranked game mode for a long time. Rank 2.0 hasn't hit the mark yet, and we're working on major changes. So let's look at the next steps section. With year 10 season 4, matchmaking will get a more specific with rank and squad size factored in. I hope this means squad size is going to be factored into Q, but I already thought that was a thing, so I don't really understand that. I don't know if you're going to say that, oh, you played solo, so you're going to earn more rank than if you played in a stack. I think that's kind of stupid. We're actively developing what we call ranked overhaul, with objective of offering visible rank reward progression as well as visible skill progression. So I'm assuming they're getting rid of hidden MMR. Thank God they're getting rid of him in MMR. Hidden MMR should have been gotten rid of 5 years ago, but it's Ubisoft. They're late to literally everything. Their game devs have to be one of the silliest game dev teams I've ever had the pleasure of dealing with. And I've never even dealt with them before, besides for the fact that I play their game and I've loved their game for the longest time. But they've done a lot of stupid shit. They're up there with the likes of Overwatch 2 devs. They're up there with the likes of, I'm trying to think of other dev teams that just, like, they don't understand what players like and don't like. They don't understand what players want. They just make changes and then they say, fuck it, we don't know. And all honestly, I think this is an overall good thing. Should have happened a long time ago again, but I think it's good. I don't really need to read their final thoughts. I don't really care about their final thoughts. But a lot of this looks good. Just should have happened a long time ago. You've lost a large amount of your player base. I would like to see a change to that as well. How you nerf and buff different players, or operators, I should say. But with that being said, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope y'all like this video. If you did enjoy, if you did like it, please subscribe. That subscribe button, it helps the channel immensely. And I hope y'all have a great day. I'm just scrolling through here, just making sure I didn't miss anything. But I mean, everything here looks pretty good. There's just a little bit more changes I would make. But again, this should have happened a long time ago. You guys have basically killed this game that's worked for y'all forever. And you've made the community really dislike you. Jinxie gave y'all this second breath of fresh air. Then y'all fucked it up again with CJX. And a lot of my friends and I, we liked old Siege graphics, like really old Siege graphics, way more than the current Siege graphics. The current Siege graphics look like wet doo-doo. The original Siege graphics from way back in the day looked way better. Then they overhauled them and they got a little bit worse. Then they overhauled them again with CJX, and they got worse again. I don't know what they were thinking, but I hope they improve the graphics a little as well. Again, I'm not too concerned about the graphics because I've never played Siege for the graphics. It's just a nice thing to have. But with that being said, I hope they get their shit together, because the fresh wind of air that Jinxie gave them back in like 2024, 2023, it's gone. It's gone again. So And here they are actually making good changes. But these changes, like the ranked overhaul, hidden MMR should have never been a thing. I don't know who at the company came up with the idea of having hidden MMR, this hidden ranked, that basically decides what your rank is. You don't actually, as the player, decide what your rank is. The game does. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great day as always. And as always, remember to